Now, for more on this jobs numbers, Ray Zucaro, managing principal at SW Asset Management, joins us live from Miami. Welcome to Biz Asia, sir. Let me ask you this. How big of an impact did the weather play? Because a lot of people are citing that as the reason.
Thank you for having me on. Yes, weather was an important factor here. You look at how the November numbers were actually pretty strong. December was one of the coldest Decembers in history. It did certainly impact the overall unemployment rate and people looking for jobs. But also people have to understand that the U.S. is still recovering from a severe financial crisis. You know, the banking crisis impacted construction, financials, and it's still healing. It's still going through the healing process. So it's a long-term recovery. So getting caught up in the month-to-month variances, people should look at the longer-term trends, which have been positive and are recovering. But December's number was very poor, and you saw the impact of what happened on interest rates.
You know what's frustrating is when this recession began many years ago, a lot of us focused on the unemployment rate. It was almost at 10%. It came down to 9, 8, and 7, and so on. It's at 6.7 right now. And of course, the skeptics out there are saying that if you're not unemployed or you're not filing for unemployment, you're also not being counted. So how important is that number ultimately?
You know, you hit on a very important subject. The number's coming down. But one of the reasons it's coming down is people are actually exiting the labor force. They're no longer looking for jobs, and that is a troubling trend. You know, where do we go from here? How do we resolve that? It's a tough call. The number is coming down. The Federal Reserve stimulus that they put in place is helping, but there's still more work to be done there.
We had another economist on from another bank that talked, and my question to her was, well, how many jobs does the economy need to add every single month for people to get really excited? And she basically said it's a number well north of 200,000. So even if we hit the estimate of 200,000, a lot of people say, hey, look, that's not enough to spur stronger U.S. economic growth. But if that's the case, I mean, all these estimates that are coming in, they're all to the low side. I mean, where is the good news?
Well, from a fixed income point of view, you know, the firm that I co-founded with my partner, David Hinman, we focus on fixed income investments. And given, as you said, the overall growth is not strong, we don't see the Fed removing stimulus anytime in the near term. We think the tapering will continue. We don't, you know, even with the strong November numbers, in the weak December, we think the overall removal of stimulus will be at a measured pace. We don't see it being removed quickly. And we also don't see interest rates rising quickly. We think the stimulus will stay in place, which is a very good environment for fixed income, particularly emerging market fixed income, where our firm focuses on.
Did Bernanke make a mistake in sort of setting off this trend of cutting back on stimulus, you think?
A mistake? No. He has to educate the market on what to expect. The economy is healing. We are much better off than we were in the post-Lehman the depths. So at some point you do have to ease your foot off the gas pedal, but do it in a controlled, well-telegraphed method. And that's frankly, Mr. Bernanke has done a wonderful job. It is well done. We don't think it'll be accelerated. He's doing a very good job.
If cold weather was a factor for the month of December, I would imagine that this polar vortex that we've had over the past week or so that has pounded most of the country, doesn't that basically mean that we can throw out January's numbers as well, because that's going to be impacted even more so?
Well, it's interesting, the segment just right before this talked about how Niagara Falls had frozen over. I think you're exactly right. I think you're going to see some of the weak trends in December because of the weather being carried over into the January numbers as well.
All right, we'll continue to watch these numbers. A lot of debate whether good news is bad news, but for now we'll leave it there.